course, I'll sit over here, and it's like we're having a conversation as if the camera's not even there.
And you'll ask questions when I...
Yeah, I'm going to ask a few questions.
Okay.
Now, first of all, I want to ask you, when did you serve on the Kitty Hawk?
I came aboard the Kitty Hawk from a squadron that was based in Miramar, F4 squadron, and beginning of '65, and we left from Long Island, where it was stationed, and traveled over to Hawaii, Japan, and to China Sea. We did sorties over to Vietnam. Cambodia wasn't supposed to be, and so there was a ship that was the biggest thing I've ever been on. It was amazing. I couldn't believe it when I first walked on it. It was, I'd jump up and down a couple of times, didn't move. It was something else. It was gigantic, and every cruise that I did from '65, which was 3 cruises, '65 to end of '68, there was always action going on. I worked the flight deck for the most part, aboard a plane. And I roamed the whole, as much as you could roam. I've been through that ship. There were restrictions, of course. I never could get up to the fly bridge and anything, or down where they kept the missiles.
What was your job? What did you do?
I was a plane captain to begin with, and which meant that I was assigned to a plane, 2 of us that had to be on that plane as long as it was on the flight deck. One of us had to be on it 24 hours a day, unless, of course, we were in port or something in neutral waters. You still had to be on a plane. Sometimes we'd man it when there were pilots right there in the plane on the cat, getting ready to shoot off at times. It was pretty exciting up on the flight deck. There was always things happening, going on. The action was coming and going. It made the time go a lot faster, that's for sure.
We're talking F4 Phantoms, right? We're talking about the latest and greatest jet.
Yep, that was the best plane that was available at the time, the fastest. It carried a lot of bombs, missiles, air-to-air missiles. It would supported, of course, all the ground troops in Vietnam, all the larger sorties.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what you were doing. Is you guys were, even though you were in the China Sea, your guys were going and flying over Vietnam, correct?
Yes.
Tell me what they were doing.
Dropping bombs for the main part. Anytime they were called from Vietnam itself, troops that were having problems, we'd already have it packed with bombs. If the plane was up and ready to go, constantly, otherwise it would be in the hangar deck being worked on. It was ready to go at all times. And it was around the clock sometimes, and other times it wasn't, that's all. It was...
Now what kind of, because the Vietnamese, they didn't really have airplanes, did they?
No.
Did the
Well,
Chinese
no.
planes? Okay, I just wondered what kind of threats you might have had.
In neutral waters, we'd see a Russian plane go over. Of course, we'd know about it beforehand, and we'd send our planes up to escort them away and such, just in case, of course. And they'd bring everybody up on the flight deck to wave at them. Shoot them a moon once in a while, that type of thing, because we knew they were taking pictures.
Yeah, absolutely.
And of course, we didn't have all our planes on the deck. We only had so many at some times when we were traveling those kind of waters. And we had missiles on the back of the carrier, surface to air, air missiles. That was at the ready, and they'd test those too. Every cruise, of course.
What was it like when you had a surface-to-air missile going off on the back of an aircraft carrier?
Yeah, it shook it for sure, you know, and it takes off real quick and hits the bogey going over. You know, that's what it was about. You know, to send a plane up, or a plane would come from somewhere. You know, something that they could shoot at, and it would no problem hitting it.
I bet.
Yeah, it was.
So it was a pretty happy time, even though you were at war. But I mean, it was a good.
Well, you stack 50 planes side by side. You know, their wings are up, and they're all at the back side of the carrier, of course, and they all start up all at the same time, and then they start moving them to the catapults, and it's real quick action at that time. Yellow shirts are doing their job, and we're unchaining. Of course, those planes are always chained down, so we run the pilots through their safety checks and such, and strap them in their planes and make sure everything's ready and ready to go. And then we unchain them and throw the chains on our back and head for the side.
Wow.
Yeah. And you know, there's sometimes, like I've said before, you know, I've been blown down the flight deck at one time where where it was turned on me. You know, when they go to move a plane, they got to goose it somewhat, and it just happened that yellow shirt turned it on me as I was walking behind it, and I ducked behind my chain bag, but it moved me and the chain bag down a little ways, enough to
Was that a scary feeling?
pick up the chain bag and run to the side again. Keep on going.
I bet you got out of the way after that, didn't
Oh,
you?
yeah.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah, you had to be on your toes and realize what's going on constantly, because people do get hurt.
Yeah. So the yellow shirts, those were the guys that were moving the planes around? And
Yeah,
putting them
they
on the
directed the
catapults?
planes, right.
Okay. And then what color was your shirt?
Mine was brown shirt.
Okay, you were a brown shirt.
Yeah.
All right, very
Yeah.
good. Are you surprised? I mean, the Kitty Hawk has been through the Vietnam War, the Cold War.
Right.
It's the only recorded, connection with a Russian submarine. I mean, it sounds like a pretty significant piece of history comes along with that boat.
Yeah, it's a shame that what they're going to be doing to it, of course, taking it apart and scrapping it. That's something else. I mean, spent a lot of time on that ship, and of course there's like 4,900 and some besides me, you know, and that was a constant amount of people on that ship, and I'm sure everybody's thinking about that constantly, and it would be a great thing to have that as a museum. There's older ships that are museums, and something that you could put planes back on it, do touring, etc. You know, and it's history. It's the last oil carrier that we have, and it'd be a shame to dismantle it like they plan on doing.
How do you feel when you hear that they are going to take it apart?
Surprised for sure. You know, I knew it was dry dock, not dry dock, but it was in dock, you know, sitting for a long time here and there on the West Coast. I was hoping, you know, watching it, but from what I heard last, it was being moved down to San Diego, and they'll be using it for scrap. That's, you know, they could bring it up the East Coast. We could always use one up here along our battleship over here in North Carolina.
Well, yeah, I
Be a
mean,
great scene.
as far as name recognition, because you had of that class of super carrier, there was like the Kitty Hawk, the Constellation, and there was
The
another
America.
The
Well, that was
yeah.
later on.
But I mean,
Yeah.
Kitty Hawk has. I don't know about you, but I think it has bigger name recognition than any of the other carriers that came out of that class.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, like I say, it was the last of the Oilers. They don't seem to want to do anything with the nuclear ones because they can't make those in the museum. So, and then they have one down in South Carolina, a carrier, but it's a pretty old one. So we need one here in North Carolina, and that'd be perfect. You know, I'm sure there'd be out of the men and some women. I believe they started taking women on in the last couple runs that they had, but of course there weren't any women's aboard when I was there, except for entertainers that we had.
Yeah. So one last question: is there one story besides getting blown down the flight deck in the chains? Is there one story about the Kitty Hawk that just really sticks out in your mind during your time that you were on there?
Well, one of the planes that I was in charge of, it was one of those planes on a catwalk at the ready to take off. And one night it did take off because it was they were called on, and it didn't come back. It got blown out of the sky. So that'll always be a remembrance for me.
Well, what's that like to be a plane captain and not have a plane?
Well, it gets replaced, you know, but that wasn't the point.
No.
You know, it's something else.
I mean, I'm sure you were you friends with the pilot, or?
Yeah, we talked to him, you know, during those times. You know, during that time, you know, they have watches. I believe it might have been 2 hours apiece during the night, and they have stories. You know, we talked to them during the night. You know, the stars are out, especially in the Tonkin Gulf. In the China Sea, you know, so it was unfortunate. It was terrible, to say the least. You know, there was other instances, you know, where we were it caught on fire. Pretty big fire that they had. We were in the Philippines, and they had to pull it off the dock because it was on fire. Of course, there's always a third of the crew aboard constantly, and then another third that could be out on base, and then another third on liberty.
Mm-hmm.
And as fast as we were coming aboard there, they were putting us on line, you know, going through and fighting that fire, because it's every man that is available on a carrier to keep it floating.
Wow, very good.
Yeah.
All right. Well, perfect. I just
Forward when this happened, because we went to general quarters.
Yeah.
And
So here you get the Vietnam.
Yeah.
Hold that one for just a second. I want to get a tight shot of the map. Now, when you say China Sea, kind of point out where exactly.
China
Okay, I
Sea,
see that. Yeah.
And we'd go like that, you know. We'd be in the Tonkin Gulf and back out.
Wow. That's amazing.
And I'd lay in the nets in the front, relaxing time.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, watch the dolphins hit the waves as you're going through.
Dude, that's amazing. That is amazing. All right, we'll keep flipping through that.
Here's I was in a forward chow hall at the time when it went to general quarters, and turn around, they lock the doors. You know, they spin the spin the hatches.
Yeah.
Yeah, as the smoke's coming down the gangways like this, it's just filled up from one end to the other of the ship.
Wow. Now, is your picture in here somewhere?
Not like this.
Oh,
No.
okay.
It was. That's
Terrible.
one.
I don't know what kind of plane that is.
I don't remember seeing it, too.
Well, there's your entertainment.
Yeah.
All right, so that's what he worked on.
Yeah.
He worked on
Yeah, Martha Ray.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she did a lot of stuff during Vietnam.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's been a few Christmases out there.
Oh, you spent Christmas out on the boat?
Oh, yeah.
Wow. And you know what I like? This here, it's the Kitty Hawk. I want to get a tight shot of that. Of how they're standing, and there's that Kitty Hawk symbol. I mean, nothing says North Carolina like that Kitty Hawk symbol, does it?
Yeah, might find a better.
Yeah. Was that something new for?
I know there's a bigger one of those. Tokyo was always good.
Hawaii, huh?
Yeah, we had this. So, you got that one. I don't know. It's not very.
So was that the
It's
biggest thing you'd ever seen in your life?
Yeah, definitely a lot. You got this here if you can get that.
Oh yeah.
I don't think it's a. No, it's not on yours. No.
That's cool. Yeah. Very nice. Yeah, a lot of folks are gonna miss it. Yeah, that's neat. Neat stuff. Oh, look at that Korea. Yeah, look at that one.
You know, that's as far as it goes.
These are neat pictures.